Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
That's right. Another week, another set of news and talks and discussion and fun. Week 17.
Maybe a 17?
17.
I don't feel like I've even worked 17 days this year.
Neither do I. All right. So where do we start? Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess, right?
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Gotta be
That's why
Yu-Gi-Oh.
we're here.
That is true. Okay. So there are two big Yu-Gi-Oh stories right now.
Two
that
biggies?
I think are worth talking about.
You say those two big ones, and I have I think a small one.
Yeah. So one is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel got a new ban list. And another is a more community debate issue, kind of Konami type of topic.
Okay, so one they don't care about, and one they care too much about.
I don't even know which is which in that case. Well, we're going to start with the Master Duel ban list since it did get announced to be updating soon.
Can I announce this part? Can I tell them?
Yeah, I mean...
Guys, they finally did it. Max C is banned.
I mean, we wish. Some people wish. I don't mind. So yeah, there is a new Master Duel Forbidden and Limited list that was announced. It's not going into effect until next week, August 31st, but it's still garnered a lot of talk and chatter. So I actually had made a video where I sort of talked about it. So I'm going to go through it relatively quickly. You can, of course, give me your takes. I know you don't play a lot of Master Duel, but
I'll play when Max C gets banned.
something feels relevant.
Actually, I want to come to 6.
So the Unlimited Nadir's Servant, that's good for me. I play Dogmatica. So I'm happy about
Unlimited.
that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was at 2 and now it's at 3. It was kind of one of those holdover things where the OCG had
That's true, because what's it doing?
Nothing at all. Ancient Fairy Dragon went to 3. This is that post-errata Ancient Fairy Dragon.
I was about to say, isn't that a problem?
Yeah, where it's the hard ones return and everything. So not a huge deal there. And Girsu, the Orcust Mech Knight, which was at 2 for some reason, is at 3 now. So all cards that kind of just were.
What can you do now with 3 Girsu that you couldn't do with 2?
A slightly more consistent opening hand, probably.
Maybe
That would be my guess. I don't really play any Orcust or Mech Knight or any of those kind of decks, but
when I was doing my research into the World Chalice theme, I remember wanting to build a kind of World Chalice lore deck.
Oh, it combines a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so now that it's actually at 3 in Master Duel, maybe that'll be a fun Master Duel experiment.
Yeah, I mean, I actually remember one of the later regionals I went to in that kind of era. It was late 2019. It was a regional or maybe some OTS thing. Somebody was actually playing a World Legacy kind of lore deck and had a little bit of everything in it, and it was really fun. They ended up losing in time though.
They were just comboing that.
Yeah, they were just comboing so hard, and then it was time, and I'd gotten a small life point lead, and they lost. It was kind of anticlimactic, but we take those. Yeah, so those all went to 3. Some things went to 2. Blaster Dragon Ruler Infernos went from 1 to 2. So that's another Dragon Ruler making its way down the ban list, at least in Master Duel.
How many Master Duels do they? I mean, Masters. How many Dragon Rulers do they have in Duel Links?
Master Duel.
What did I say?
Anyway, you said Duel Links. Yeah, I mean, I think what is it? What's the win one? Tempest is at 1.
And as long as there's no good
2?
win decks, there's nothing to really do.
Yeah,
with it.
so Blaster's gone to 2 now. I don't really know why. I think they realized Blaster.
I mean, there's no good fire decks.
Yeah, I mean these Dragon Rollers they're aged out. Honestly,
that's true. They're dated
point.
card design.
They have hard ones per turns on across all of the effects. You can only use one of their effects and only once. So just in general, they're kind of.
But don't you feel that if we had all the Dragon Rulers, that Dragon Link would still find the way to be annoying?
They'd probably only use Tempest because it can search a dragon. The rest I don't even. Maybe Tidal. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would really be too big of a thing. I'd like to see it more than anything. If it ends up being Chaos, fine by me.
Well, it can't be Chaos. That's a fire dragon.
Pot of Extravagance has gone to 2 from 3.
So that definitely sounds like one of those statistical changes, just to
shaving off a
numbers
little
in a way.
consistency. So this is an overall hit to many different control decks. Labyrinth, Fluanderies, something like Eldritch or Traptrix maybe would run it, although they don't usually as much. Even Kashtira, some builds ran Pot of Extravagance, so you're running more of a pure one right now in Master Duel. So I mean, it's definitely It's a small, just statistical hit.
Yeah.
I think just shave off a little consistency. One cool thing that I was saying though about this is that it now, like, depending on where you play Yu-Gi-Oh, every different like territory just kind of has a different, like, TCG, OCG, Master Duel have like just different rates at what like the pot cards are at. Because like the TCG put Pot of Desires to 2, for instance. It put it to 1 for a little bit, and then it went to 2, and it's still at 2, and we don't even know exactly why that happened. Like, people guess Sword Soul, but there's not really any like hard proof that that was the reason.
Hey, play Prosperity.
And then like Prosperity's at 1 in Master Duel, despite being at 3 in the TCG.
Don't play Prosperity.
And then now Extravagance is at 2 instead of 3. So it really feels like Konami's kind of just juggling these pot cards around. And
cards that draw 2 have always been problematic in Yu-Gi-Oh! I do think it's funny that there is just no consensus on what should be done, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think that for me, I'm one of those players where the pot cards, whether it's Prosperity, Desires, Avarice, anything, like, they just, all the recent pot cards haven't ever really bothered me. Like, I've never had any strong opinions on Desires one way or another. I never had any strong opinions on Extravagance. So, I mean, to me, the worst thing I could say about them is maybe that, like, they're ash bait, and some people feel that they shouldn't have to waste their ash on an Extravagance and then the opponent still like does something.
Then don't waste it on the Extravagance and hold it.
But then if you don't, and they get like 2 free cards, and now like it's
so right, that's a 50-50, guys. That's called gaming.
So yeah, that's kind of their, I don't know, but either way, it's
you know
a 2.
What draw card I don't miss more so than any of those pots? Card Demise.
Yeah, that's one I don't like. That should never be.
Yeah,
let's just keep
stay
that.
gone.
That could, you could ban that for all I care. I do not like that card. That's one of those cards. It's only, at least in Master Duel, it's like only for Inspector, Border, Stun, like Fossil Dyna.
Wait, Card Demise is still legal in Master Duel?
Yeah, that gets at 1, I think.
Okay, only 1. Okay.
It's so hard to keep up with all the different ban lists, but I think it's at 1. Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, actually went to 2.
Was it at 1 before?
It was at 1 before. I think this is strictly a like
for the Draco Slayers.
Yeah, kind of buffing the Draco Slayers. Although I was reading a comment somebody left that it actually helps like Magispectors. Like, I know like nobody really like plays that, but like it's one of those things that can help those really older pendulum themes that got a lot of use out of it.
Because Luster Pendulum, it will destroy your other scale. You search another copy of it, so that can be useful if you want to look for certain names like Mumbuku and stuff.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. The person even said in the comments, like, yeah, you know, I know like nobody really knows about Magispector, but this is a small, nice like thing for us. So
it's a win.
It's a sound. I mean, but like when you're, you know, playing like tier 5 Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever, old forgotten decks.
Do they have Kirin in Master Duel or no?
They don't.
Okay, give them Kirin. All right, Konami.
The only problem is like all the pendulum decks will just use it, and then it's just another interruption.
Give everybody Kirin. Look, pendulum decks need all the help they can get.
Actually, that reminds me, in Master Duel right now, the pendulum deck has kind of picked up some steam again with the release of Draco Slayers, and Valence got their new like little spell. So now like you'll see like these Draco Slayer, Valence, Pendulum Soup kind of decks.
I'm trying to figure out what a deck like that even does, because Draco Slayers, guys may not be too familiar, but Draco Slayer is a very self-sufficient engine, so I don't know what Valence bring to the table.
They have a fusion that can interrupt things. They can kind of out stuff with their field spells, and they are able to get going without a normal summon, I think, is their key thing. Because they can like put themselves in the scales, use those field spells to like summon themselves up, and then get searches and stuff like that without actually committing to a normal summon, which makes it easier to make like Electromite and Beyond the Pendulum.
Yeah, that is good.
It goes on. I've been encountering it a fair bit in like it's in ranked, so
I might have to try that deck.
So next is some limited cards. They limited Branded Fusion from 2. You might remember it went to 2 in the last list to now 1.
1?
Yeah.
But the branded deck has barely, well, I guess it's been around for a while in Master Duel. It just feels like it hasn't been that long to take such a big hit.
Yeah, something that I was going to say, I thought that was a little bit harsh, and the main reason I think it's harsh isn't actually because I like Branded particularly or anything like that. It's actually because now that Kashtira is in the game and they banish things face down, and they have like stuff like Rise Heart and some of their others, they can like look at your grave and look at the top of your deck and all that. With only 1 copy of Branded Fusion, if they happen to see that and banish it face down, which they will, you'll just never see that copy again. And like you'll never be able to use Branded Fusion in that game.
And Branded playing without Branded Fusion is a very, very fair
much
deck.
more nerfed deck.
Like that's a.
So I think they should have kept it at 2 maybe for that reason, and instead maybe gone for like some of the Bestial cards or something else. But it's at 1 now, so I think that that's just a way to make this deck really feel quite fragile. And
So, I mean, you can search your 1 copy, but you better go first.
yeah, that Grass Looks Greener went from 2 to 1 as well. Personally, I would prefer this card either get banned or go to 3.
I mean,
That's kind of my like. I think that putting it at 2 or putting it at 1, it doesn't like it makes it an inherently inconsistent and therefore somewhat sacky feeling card.
but that's your feeling. But statistically,
Yeah, I think for them, they might just be thinking, well, if we can make sure that these grass decks win a little less often.
yeah, they sack a little bit less.
A little less,
You will
that's
still
enough for
feel quite sacked when it gets dropped on you. But just know,
in their spreadsheet,
yeah, for the other million players who are currently playing at the same time, they're not dealing with that, and that's because
Yeah.
of the hit to 1.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned that because that was kind of my stance on Master Duel Banlist. I still think that's largely the method they use for these. However, I think that like this ban list has changed that stance somewhat with some of the cards that got like banned and stuff. But I don't know. Like I don't know. I just sometimes feel like Master Duel's its stuff is so intense that like with cards like Grass, it really would just be better off either at 3 or 0. But they have different views. Next is Kelbeck, just one of the Ishizu cards that was at 2, is now at 1.
All right, we're just another little slap to Shizu tier.
Yeah.
Let's see him push through that still.
It was one of the Millers, and it was at 2, and now it's at 1. So that's nice. And then Sprite Jet went from 2 to 1. It's kind of a weird one since Sprite was maybe like the 3rd strongest deck in ranked, but they hit Sprite Jet once again. It was already like a 2.
I mean, Sprite did make an appearance at Worlds.
True, and Swap Frog went from 2 to 1.
Oh yeah,
they're kind of hitting Sprite here. Now, what's a little different about this hit compared to Jet? Jet's just another consistency thing. Swap Frog is actually a like ammunition thing because with only one Swap Frog, it is like a direct limitation to how many times you can use Ronin Totem.
Yeah, it lowers your ceiling.
So the ceiling is lower unless you're willing to run something like Dupe Frog, but you don't really want to run that unless you have to.
It sounds like they might have to.
So I'll be interested in seeing where this Sprite things go, but that's all the cards that are limited. And finally, we have 5 banned cards. And this is weird because, like we were saying, Master Duel typically seems like they kind of try to avoid outright bans sometimes, but
not today.
Yeah, they banned Ragominiad.
Oh,
good riddance. Toxic
good. I mean,
card.
I love seeing it gone. I'm just surprised.
Yeah, toxic card. Agito, the Ancient Sentinel, so the other Ishizu card. This was the other Miller, is now just banned outright.
Oh yeah, man. You better pray. Hope your deck does not make it to Worlds because they coming for him.
Yeah, I was actually kind of shocked. I thought they were going to just put all the Ishizu pieces at 1 each, and then maybe like all the tier cards at 1 each.
And now they said that's done. They said it's over.
Agito's out of here. Phantasmal Lord Ultimatil Bish Balkan. Yeah, if you've never heard of that card, you're probably not alone. It's just it's this dark level 12 synchro that's apparently used in FTKs.
Oh, okay. I mean,
has some
good,
really
I guess.
gimmicky cheese effect with tokens and
I can't even form a mental
attack
image of what
points.
that card looks like. I have no idea.
Yeah, it came in like a gold series. You may like.
Oh, I've
vaguely-
seen that.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I've seen it. I don't know. what it
Block
does.
Dragon is banned. Thank goodness.
I love that. For
So
us.
tired of seeing. That.
Yeah, I if it hurts my heart that there's some of y'all that were playing not broken decks with Block Dragon and you can't use it anymore. But for all the Adamantipator players, good riddance.
Yeah, I do not like Block Dragon. It's just too strong. And finally, TR Laments, not Kit Kalos, but Merly got banned.
Oh yeah, y'all, you better hope your deck never makes it to Worlds.
Yeah, kind of a weird one. So
Wow.
people thought they were going to ban Kit Kalos, the fusion that kind of does a little bit of everything for the deck. Instead, they hit Merly, which some people would argue is actually a more effective hit because you're losing a tier name, you're losing a fusion per turn. It's also arguably the best tier summon because it mills 3 on summon. It's level 2, which means that they can't utilize like Sprite Elf and things like that. It's overall like a really nasty hit to the deck. and one that I'm not entirely sure it's going to really be able to recover from. I think that it just makes it, the deck is like this plus those Ishizu hits just kind of makes it a deck that's going to be on stilts. And
Welcome to Cash Country.
yeah, so it seems like Cash is going to be kind of the deck to beat, although it does not at least have its like a Rise Heart and its field spell. So
Yeah, guys,
That's
I
when it'll
know
really get out of
if you're
hand.
suffering against Cash Tier and Master Duel right now,
just know the worst is yet to come.
yeah, it gets a lot worse.
Yeah, but so this is the new ban list. I think it's one of the biggest ones that they've had, like maybe the second largest ban list. There's lots of hits.
But I see what you mean. It definitely doesn't feel statistical anymore.
Yeah, I feel
now
like they got pretty
feels
heavy-handed
like it's
with this
with
one.
intention.
Yeah, because up to now, I think Master Duel ban lists were always like a bit of a meme in that like weird random card went from 3 to 2 that like slightly scrapes a hair of consistency from this deck. But now it's like these are pretty meaningful changes. I mean, Tier is like on life support, I think, with these hits, and we knew that would probably have to happen. But some of the hits that surprised me the most were actually like, I didn't know that they were gonna like hit Rongo or Block Dragon ever. Like I kind of thought they were just gonna be parts of Master Duel.
So glad. I hate Black Dragon. I hate it so much.
Yeah, so those cards are gone. I hope that Chaos Ruler follows. Personally, don't like him either. The Branded Fusion hit felt a little mean, but I was informed in the comments the other day that apparently Branded really terrorizes the lower ranks.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, and I can see why. I mean, like, I think if you're playing, because that's the thing I should have mentioned in my video, but I guess now's a good time. It's interesting seeing people's response to this ban list, because a lot of people are upset about the Branded Fusion hit. When last list, when it got put to 2, the common sentiment was that was not hard enough. People were saying like, what? They only put Branded Fusion to 2, and that's the only hit to them? Branded's so busted. And so now that it's kind of fallen off a little bit in play, at least at the upper ranks, people now feel like they're bullying Branded. And Branded didn't deserve this. But I'm not going to say whether like I think it needed to go to 1 or not, because I'm not like, but I do think that it's just kind of interesting how like opinions sway so fast.
Right.
Like I think that they could have hit maybe the Bestial cards instead. I mean, some of them are already limited and stuff, and maybe hit like Lubellion to 1 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I read in a comment that apparently at the lower ranks, Branded is quite overwhelming just because it just has so much gas of fusion monster after fusion monster after fusion monster that's just like, it's just a lot to deal with. So
That's a surprise to me. I'm only familiar with the brand that we've seen in the TCG. I'm not too familiar with Master Duel's Branded.
Now, my guess too is that since they're probably going to be releasing the last little line of Albaz lore cards here in the next maybe month or so, this might have been a preemptive hit for that. Like Guiding Quim and Bestial Dissipator, like all those sorts of cards. So maybe they felt they needed Branded Fusion to be hit preemptively for that. Not really sure.
I would have felt that in a post-tier Master Duel, Branded should, in my opinion, perform quite well, given that I think it plays pretty decently under Max C. And
perhaps that was why they did it. Like they felt that it hitting tier this hard, they needed to hit Branded at least a little bit too, so it didn't just take tier's place.
We have Cash Tira, which I don't think really counters them.
Yeah, I mean Cash Tira, it's like a fundamentally different deck though.
It's quite different.
I don't know. Who knows? Like I never know what these Master Duel devs are thinking. I really don't.
Hey, Master Duel devs, we'll have you on the podcast. Send an email to,
if you'd like a seat,
to Paul.
Yeah,
we'll pull up a chair.
It's down in the description.
And we'll talk about it.
I really would like to get even just the smallest bit of insight into like what really goes into these ban lists, because like, for a game where like the ban lists come more frequently, it feels like it would be nice to have, I guess, information. Well, people.
Oh wait, they're Konami devs. They could never do that, could they?
Yeah, they probably never talk.
Oh, I know what you could do. You guys should do what's already done in Duel Links, and have the little blurb that explains the ban list changes.
They have a blurb, but it's like not a blurb about the specific list. It's just a blurb saying these are our general goals with every ban list.
No. We want to know specifically like why. We if you hate a deck, we just want to know. If you hate tier, just say it. Say it. We won't even hold it against you. We'll even pretend like we didn't hear it.
Now, I did see that there's supposed to be a new pack coming out kind of soon. There's like a leak or something I saw that's supposed to have like...
We don't discuss leaks here.
Yeah, it's supposed to have Pirelli and Makonko.
I didn't hear any of that.
So if you're interested in any of that.
Yeah, if you like those decks, check it out. I've been waiting for ninjas to get added to Master Duel. It's just never going to happen.
It's supposed to be a structure deck or something.
We don't talk about leaks here.
So
I didn't hear any of that, but I will be waiting for the day I can play ninjas.
So that's the ban list for Master Duel. All in all, seems cool. I'll keep playing as always.
Definitely the most interesting ban list in a while.
Okay. So one last quick thing about it. I was watching Joshua Schmidt's video about
I know that guy. Not personally.
Yeah, he was at Worlds. He won the Master Duel thing.
Yeah. I saw him from a distance.
Saw him from the stands.
I think our arms brushed each other at one point, so I'm kind of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Champion now.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that champion DNA.
Oh, not like that.
I mean, maybe.
Oh, no, maybe.
Anyways, he was saying how, like, this is kind of, copium, as the kids call it, but that maybe these hits are leading to them eventually banning Max C. And the reason he thought so is because they're banning the more obnoxious things like Block Dragon and Rongo, means that maybe they're trying to get those out of the picture because, like, normally those are allowed to exist since Max C is allowed to exist because it kind of keeps the wild special summon spam decks in check. So maybe if they are slowly chipping away at these sorts of cards, it could pave the way for Max C to finally get banned. I think that's unlikely.
I hope so. You know why I hope so? So that Konami can make Max C Plus. It's an extra deck monster that you can just spit out whenever your opponent special summons, and you draw a card every time you special summon. It's a Link 1 monster too.
Yeah, quick summon it.
Yep, quick play, inherent summon.
What do you think about that?
I hope not, honestly. I like Max C. I'm a Max C apologist. I liked the TCG when we had Max C, except when I played combo decks. But I didn't like what the TCG turned into once we got rid of Max C. So,
yeah, you feel like maybe. I mean, do you think this could signal that they might be trying to ban it?
No. I think they're trying to hit things that make the Master Duel experience less fun. Where oftentimes Yu-Gi-Oh! Players can point to the things that make the experience not fun for them. And you don't have to be like very into Yu-Gi-Oh! You can just be like a common Yu-Gi-Oh! Enjoyer. And when your opponent starts spamming Block Dragon 4 times in the turn, and you're losing, but you've been losing for like the past 5 minutes now because their turn's still going. That's Block Dragon. When your opponent is FTKing you with some crazy combo you've never seen before, and Rongo's on board.
Yeah,
that's Rongo. Max C doesn't kill you. Max C may stop you, but the beauty of that is if Max C has truly stopped your turn, you're going to lose this game. You can hit the quit button right now.
Yeah, I think that's actually that's pretty much always been my view on it. Is that like Max C, it just gives people a fighting chance. I know it's like broken as hell and all these other problems, but I think for the casual person or just for like kind of the average player, Max C is not the first thing they point to when they say the things they don't like about Yu-Gi-Oh! The first thing they point to is the deck that does not stop summoning. And there's like a lot of those.
And oftentimes the problem with Max C is those decks using Max C. It feels especially horrible when your opponent has comboed off, you didn't see your hand traps. They've built this crazy board. You have a slight grain of hope in your opening hand.
And then they Max C you.
And then Max C. And it's like...
So I got a hot take on that, actually.
What you got?
About... Because, like, people will complain. They'll say, like, Max C is so broken because, like, when my opponent combos off and they have Max C, then I just lose. Or at least that's what they'll say. Mm-hmm. But... And I know that it's not always this way, but in my experience, like... in Diamond and Master Rank lately, this last few months now, I actually don't mind when people Max C me after their combo. And the reason I don't is because usually they've gone through so much of their engines and their extra deck that the cards that they draw actually aren't as usul anymore. So
it's redundant cards.
So it's kind of redundant stuff because like sometimes like so take a deck like Adamantipator or like some of these like crazy punk bestial whatever hybrids that just go through like
combo
several things. Yeah, just these combo city decks, right? Or it's just everything hits the fan. If you use like say Dark Ruler No More on them, right? That's one of the cards I use. I use Dark Ruler No More, and so now I can like play around their board or whatever. Mm-hmm. If they Max C me, it feels depressing, but then I'll still just make my stuff, swing over all their cards, And on their next turn, yeah, maybe they drew, like 6, 7, 8 cards, but it actually tends to not matter because their extra deck has like,
It's been depleted.
4 or 5 cards left, and it's not combo pieces, it's not boss monsters, it's just like little half out type cards. And usually that doesn't actually end up, again, doesn't happen all the time, but I think that what I would say to people who just simplify Maxi down to if combo decks see it, then they automatically win thing, try to play through it. You might surprise yourself. Because I've had people just outright quit. Like, they Maxi me, I play, I clear their board, and even though they drew 10, they just still can't actually play because they're just out of stuff.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so it doesn't happen all the time, but just something to think about.
So wait, is your tip here play Yu-Gi-Oh?
My tip, is as it happens, stop letting the kind of emotional aspects of cards like Maxi get you so tilted into believing that like the outcome has been made. Because I'll tell you one thing, I've been playing so much now, I've seen it all. Like I've seen the deepest, reaches of how weird and crazy and like fringe case stuff that can happen in Yu-Gi-Oh now. In like Master Rank, just playing like Tier and Cash and Branded and like Sprite over and over and over. Like I've seen it all. Do not for a second believe that Maxi just decides it. I think if you're one of those people who like you see Maxi and you're just like you have this meltdown and you quit, that
I think it sounds like a skill issue.
Like actually, because like at least try. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed win. I'm saying try. Like I don't think that enough people like try. So
push your opponent. See if they actually are that good.
Exactly. Like see if they can truly like do what they need to do. Because I'm telling you, if you clear their board and they don't have a lot left, like the engines have been kind of run through and the pieces are dead. Like some decks can still play and they might beat you. Others, not so much. You'd be surprised how like slightly fragile some of these combo decks actually are. So that's your old Maxi tip for the day, because you can complain about it all day long, but as long as it's legal, you got to do something. So
that is true. Or you wait patiently until it goes the way of Rongo Bongo.
Yeah, and maybe they eventually ban it and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can cry your way to sanctity. But until then, you got to deal. All right, next thing is some community news.
Man, what the community newsing about?
Yeah, so right now there's this kind of conversation in Yu-Gi-Oh! Ruxin made a video on it today, or yesterday, I guess, when you guys are listening to this. And I kind of made a video about it, and a few people have been talking about it. The value of, or the perceived value of sealed Yu-Gi-Oh! Product has gone down a lot. And it's causing a lot of issues for players, card shops, and it's something that Konami kind of needs to solve. So what I mean by this is, they've recently released Legendary Duelists,
Soul
Burning Volcano, Duelist Nexus, Wild Survivors, Cyberstorm Access. Some of the recent sets, the Battles of Legend one, have been not very good sets, I guess, by most people's standards. They don't have a load of money cards in them. And
Soul Burning Volcano has Salamangreat, Sun Light Wolf as a ghost rare. Duelist Nexus has
Revolution Zingron, I guess. If you're
that card's great.
Yeah, but so the issue that's been happening is that like a lot of these packs are having just not enough like valuable pulls, and so if you look up like Soul Burning Volcano right now on TCG Player, a box is like $34, $35 for 36 like packs sealed box. That's extremely terribly low.
That is cheap.
Now, not only that, but even Duelist Nexus, which is a green Duelist set, by the way, those are kind of supposed to be known for like kicking off the new generation, the new era, like having
Illusion
strong staples.
Monsters.
Yeah, Illusion Monsters. $50, like $51, $52 for a box.
Wow, and that's crazy because
mainline set.
I noticed the Chimera King of the Phantom Beast Fusion Monster actually went up in price, and it's still only $50 a box.
Yeah, I mean, the Chimera thing's about $20 I saw.
Yeah.
But so that set's kind of low value, and then of course, you can go further back, Wild Survivors, Battle of Legend. So the issue right now is that there are some card shops that have announced that they are no longer stocking Yu-Gi-Oh! Products, or they're going to stop very soon, because the cost that it is for a card shop to buy them and then sell them and then have players like not purchase. So like, okay, typically a card shop will be able to, and I'm just using rough numbers, but they're pretty close. A card shop might be able to buy these boxes from its distributor for, let's say, $45 to $55, depending on if it's like a main set or side set.
Okay.
So if they have to pay like $50 on average for a box of Soul Burning Volcano, then when they sell it, like put it on the shelf for sale, they're gonna obviously have to like, you know, make a profit. They've got employees to pay, they've got bills to pay, they've got, you know, licenses.
So you charge $99.
So, well, no, but so they'll charge maybe like $70. And the issue here is that, well, they charge like $69.99 or $74.99, something like that. The players aren't going to buy that because A, I could buy a cheaper box on TCG Player, and B, even the TCG Player ones aren't really selling because there's just nothing good to pull in the set. But players will see that and think, oh, my LGS is being greedy. They're overcharging for this box that's like clearly not worth anything. I could just go online and get it. But it's not, at least in my opinion, entirely the LGS's fault. They did buy something at like one cost and they have to price it a little higher than that because they got to keep the lights on.
Well, it's the player's fault because if they don't buy the product, then of course the shop is not going to want to buy as much.
Yeah, so that's where the next part of the problem comes in. You should probably clarify. I'm not actually like, at least I'm not saying it's actually the player's fault, but you know, to present that side of the argument, I'm assuming that's not what you're saying either, right?
I could be saying a lot of things.
I mean, what do you think so far?
I am a third party, and I believe that there are the parties affected. That's players and card shops, and we'll leave the overall market out of this. But I think there's one ruling body that's ultimately responsible for all of this.
Yeah. So we'll give this player's perspective thing is players see this, they don't want to buy things, so it'd be easy to say, okay, well, it's the player's fault, right? They should just, you know, suck it up, buy these things, support their LGS, and even if it's not worth your money to buy the package, you still do it anyway, which isn't really a fair thing to say because, well, I mean, you shouldn't have to like feel pressured to buy these things. You're not a villain, you know, for not buying them.
Though I do think the sentiment of don't buy sealed and always buy singles has been too popular of a sentiment within the Yu-Gi-Oh community.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that because I have some thoughts. Sounds like you do too. So players don't really want to buy these packs for these sorts of prices, and so they'll say, okay, my LGS is being greedy, or you know, wherever the products suck, I'm not buying them. I'll just buy singles instead. And buying singles makes some sense. I think in the sense of being like self-serving, it's perfect, right? Why buy these sealed products? Why gamble when I can just, you know, get my clear cut, like I just need 3 copies of this. I'll just buy these 3 copies. I'm not going to play Konami's little gambling game. And I get it. So I do sometimes think, though, that maybe it would be in people's best interest to like buy a random pack or 2 every now and again just to support your shop. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Is such a mature game that I think that we've lost some of the like fun for that. Like the wonder in our eyes is kind of gone. The magic. Yeah, the magic's sort of faded. Like people know what's in each set. They know everything, like what it costs. They know what's going to be like meta relevant, what's not. And they're not, you know, the idea of just buying a Yu-Gi-Oh pack simply for the joy of opening, like somebody like Larry might, or you know, like
that's
a random
short
kid
supply
or something
in this community.
Yeah, it's a little bit in short supply, and so that sucks. But then we get into the last party, and the party that I think is ultimately responsible for all of this. It's Konami.
Yep.
These products have been, well, there goes that camera. You guys get our face cams for the rest of this.
Yeah, we have no idea why it keeps doing that.
But either way, yeah. So then you get to Konami, where they got to make better products. It really comes down to that. I mean, there have been years where like there've been lots of really strong Yu-Gi-Oh sets, and there've been lots of stuff that's like worth opening. This year, for some reason, not maybe as much so. I don't know why with Soul Burning Volcano, they didn't, like, you know, like the Water Legendary Duelist set, they at least put in Forbidden Droplet.
And people were pulling it for no other reason than to get droplets.
Yeah, so people were opening it just to try to at least pull a droplet. Didn't pull anything of the sort in the set. I think they could have done like a Ghost Rare Ash Blossom or...
Ooh, that would have been a hot Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost Rare Ash Blossom, right? Instead of like Sunlight Wolf. Or like Kirihara Div Incarnate.
You know that's like a $50 card.
Oh, the Sunlight Wolf?
No, I'm talking about Div Incarnate.
Yeah. So imagine like a Ghost Rare version of her. I know she's gone up. Like, so I mean, I think that they could have done something with this set.
And Sunlight Wolf is only in the 40s.
Yeah, so I think that's it's really on Konami to make better sets here, or maybe even release less. That was something that Ruxin kind of had said in his video. Is just that maybe there's just too many sets coming out, and like the perceived value of them is maybe decreasing because of that.
But if you release less and there's still underwhelming sets, won't people just be like angrier for longer?
Yeah, I feel like you got to kind of hit both, right? Like you got if you're gonna release less, then the sets that you do release are gonna need to be good. So what do you think of all of it so far? Like what do you just where do you?
I mean, so this is all from the angle of being a normal competitive-esque Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Mm-hmm.
But for us casuals, yo, we've been eating. I don't know what to say. I mean, they made an entire set just for us, Soul Burning Volcano or whatever. Like, it's just a casual set. Like, and there's nothing for competitive types in there. So, like, and people have been so nice. They've driven the prices down on the boxes so that we can get everything we want. Honestly, this last set is a win for casuals everywhere. Now, I just don't have a lot more to add than what I've said as far as the quality of the products. But what I do have something to say about is player mentality around like opening sealed product. I mean, we all remember where we were when we first heard the phrase like, don't buy sealed, buy singles. And many of us adopted this stance because it was more efficient on your wallet. But I think that did real damage to the culture of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a trading card game. Trading card games have always had a relatively simple formula. You buy a pack or maybe a couple packs of a given set. You know the set list, and you know that cards have certain rarities and certain cards are harder to pull than others. And you open that pack with the hopes of pulling something really rare or cool. But you might remember at one point you were happy to get almost anything in a pack. But in the last, let's say, decade, I feel that we've become kind of greedy and we've lost sight of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. Like, soft gambling is the name of the game. Konami never promised anything else. No card game has.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think like what I would say about it is that there's this weird thing that there's this easy trap to fall into. And this is me trying to be like considerate to all parties involved in this. So it's like players, card shops, and like Konami. Is that we've gotten very jaded. Like I think that the buy singles thing is like on paper it makes sense, right? If you just want to efficiently build decks, you should just buy the singles. It will expedite the process and it will save you time. It can save you money. You'll get your deck and you'll be happy. You'll be done. But I do think that sometimes the ramifications of that aren't always immediately evident, but like they do exist. So like if your card shop is charging, $60, $70 for Soul Burning Volcano, it's a bad deal for you to buy it, right? You probably shouldn't. But what you can do, and I said this in my video, and I think a lot of people sort of misunderstood me, is you can still buy a pack or two of it every few weeks. And what you have to do is sort of let go of your need to like get a profit, right? Like, oh, here's this card I can pull. It's worth 19. And so I buy this pack for $3 and I pull it, then I plus 16. Sort of let go of that and just buy it just for fun. Just open it. I get it. I know that like that sounds like a scam, but what I'm not asking is that you buy a box. I'm asking that you buy a pack. I'm not saying you do one every day. I'm saying you do one every 2 weeks.
But players can't afford packs because they're too busy buying singles.
Yeah, and see, that I think is a real issue is because like people don't just buy packs for fun. Now, I know there's people who are hearing this and they're like, well, like, why would I buy something that doesn't, benefit me or whatever? Because if your card shop stops stocking Yu-Gi-Oh cards, then suddenly the problem starts to get a little bit bigger. Because now, when the big sets come out that are good, like maybe Rarity Collection or something later this year, or Age of Overlord, and your card shop simply isn't buying any, because they saw, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh players just don't buy this stuff. Then now they're not stocking those sets. It's suddenly harder for your community to get those cards. And suddenly, maybe, just maybe, Yu-Gi-Oh is beginning to slowly fade from your local scene. Now, stop for just a moment. You're probably thinking, oh, wow, Paul, so you're just blaming it all on the players, right? You're saying that we're killing our scenes.
Yeah, it's their fault.
And it does sound, it sounds like I'm saying that, but what I'm saying more so is that, yes, the vast majority of this is on Konami. It is still important to try to, like, you know, just allow yourself to support your game shop a little bit. Like, I really don't think that as many game shops are, like, greedy as it sounds. There are some that, you know, mark stuff up and scalp things, but I think that the average game shop isn't trying to do that.
I think what's important to remember is more so than you, the player, being, like, important in all this. You know what's more important than one player? Card shops. Card shops are actually the pillars of the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Without card shops, we actually have nothing.
Yeah.
We can't just go back to playing in Toys R Us and Books A Million anymore. That's done. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to understand, too, that card shops often operate on pretty thin margins. Like, they're not making loads. It's more of, like, passion projects. And I mean, a lot of times, like at your average card shop, you're allowed to walk in, sit down, play, and leave and not buy a thing.
And many people do that.
And many people do exactly
often.
that, right? But like, they still have to pay to keep the lights on. They still have to pay like shipping costs and the fee whenever you swipe your card, like the credit card fees. They've got employees to pay. They've got like all kind of internet and
like,
stuff.
That soft gambling directly provides you with a place to play. Your soft gambling isn't just going in Konami's pocket. They've already been paid for the product.
Yeah. Now, so up to now, like I said, it sounds like I'm just saying, oh, it's all these players' fault, and that's just the end of it. It is not. Now I think is the time to speak directly to Konami, because I know at least one of you little buggers is listening to this podcast. I'm sure one of them does.
Maybe they all are, and they hate it.
Yeah, they hate all this stuff Paul's got to say. Here's where I speak to Konami. You guys have to do better. And I mean that, like, not just in the, like, Yu-Gi-Oh way, but in the, like, as we'll discuss later in this podcast, there are other card games coming for your neck. And they're not all, like a lot of these, they're hungry card games.
Does it rhyme with the Dark Magician Duelist Arcana?
Yeah, it does. I mean, Lorcana just came out. Grand Archive, Shadowverse. There's, like, a lot. There's a lot of other card games out here. Hey, listen. I know it sounds like that's like nothing, but Konami, I don't know that they can like kick the can down the road with these Yu-Gi-Oh products forever, because these sets have kind of been shit this year. Like, they really have. These last few sets have not been good. And I don't mean that they haven't been good from, like, you know, they're creative and they're cool and like there's some really neat archetypes, but like the value proposition in terms of like card rarities has not been good. I'm going to go out and say it. I think that the 25th century, quarter century secret rares they haven't really helped. I think
not at all.
They've diluted sets. I think with Duelist Nexus and that Battles of Legends set, they spread it way too thin. There's 25 quarter century secret cards in Duelist Nexus, but like people were liking Starlights more. Starlights were actually like really hard to pull and made sets feel like fun and valuable. 25th doesn't seem to be hitting. It doesn't, like, I think there's too many. I don't think they look as good. And I honestly just don't think that, like, it's the solution that we need. I think that there's a lot of other good solutions. I think you can do things like, you know, having the same card be available in, like, multiple rarities. That's something that, like, Pokemon and stuff does, right? You can get, like, the common or rare version of it, and then you can get, like, the ulti, or you can get the alternate art. Like, we got to have some alternate arts. I really think it was a miss not to, like, have, like, a Ghost Rare Ash or a Ghost Rare Div Incarnate as opposed to Sunlight Wolf. Right?
Sunlight Wolf, a card that no one is currently playing.
Like, that's, to me, it's unexcusable. And then also, I think, like, we have to, I don't know what Konami's deal is right now with, like, these, not just reprinting good staples in some of these side sets, but I think that's a missed opportunity too. Like,
well, the staples are for the Megatons. They got to save them for the Megatons so they can sell more of those.
Yeah, see, that's not, because, like, I think they could have put better staples in these sets too. I mean, like, what a lot of people want is, like, they want staples. They want, like, this is something where, here's what, you know what? How about this? everybody who's listening to this, if you're listening like on YouTube especially, leave a comment. What could Konami do to improve sets? I think you will find so many different things. And I'm not saying just like, okay, everybody gets all the secrets they want in every pack. Obviously, that's not
Every
practical.
pack has 2 secrets.
But, like, what are realistic things? Because I think people want alt arts and people want special rarities and, like, chase cards, but they also just want good value. And right now, it just doesn't feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Products are offering enough value. And, like, you might be able to get away with the fact that a bunch of us are addicted gamblers and stuff and are heavily invested in this game, right? For now. But I'm telling you, that doesn't, like, you can't run on that fuel forever. Like, that is a well that will run dry when, like, new games are showing up and offering people, alternatives.
I mean, I really feel that Yu-Gi-Oh! Products this year have been pitting card shops versus players quite a bit more often than what I would consider as normal.
Yes.
Because there's a certain resentment between card shops and players. Shop owners are upset with Yu-Gi-Oh! Players because they don't buy as much product as they order. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are upset with their card shops for overcharging on like these products because the online prices keep bottoming out, or at least lower than what
a card shop can feasibly
what
match.
They want to match. So it's pitting players against card shops. And once again, we need those. We need card shops to have a place to play in. Yeah, Konami, you're always going to have players, but you may not always have card shops.
Yeah, and so I say this because, like, you might have thought, like, okay, well, I'm just saying it's the player's fault, or I'm just defending this or that. No, what I'm really saying, like, to be completely clear, and I'm going to link this time code when someone leaves some comment saying, no, Paul, no, this is my, like, true opinion on it. Konami has to do better. We as players can do a little better. We can try to buy more packs from the card shop. We can try to support our LGS. And card shops can try to, mitigate profit margins and this and that. But at the end of the day, it's Konami's responsibility.
Yep.
They have to make the better products. It is not like the onus is not entirely on us. It's not entirely on our card shops. And I think you made a good point that, like, it's pitting players against, like, this market and these card shops. And it kind of creates this tension that is really, I'm going to say, is kind of more, that's on Konami to solve.
I agree. And if you guys want to defend yourselves, we'll have you on the pod. We'll pull up some chairs.
Yeah, I'll have a chat with Mr. Konami.
And then we'll talk. I know you can't do that because you work for Konami, but what you can do is make a blurb. Oh, they can't even do that.
Well, so I don't know. I don't want to call it like my rant, but I guess it turned into one. What I don't like is that it has to always turn into kind of this, like, battle of takes. Like, it's someone's take, like, is the players are to this or the card shops are to that. And, like, so I apologize if it feels like I'm, like, coming after you and saying that, you should maybe support your LGS. The truth is, it's just Konami. Like, they really have to do a little bit better. I think that there are things they've done pretty well this year, but this is not one of them. So,
and better products benefit everybody, right? Better products makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Players happy. That makes them buy more product, and then card shops make more profits, and then they want to buy more product themselves.
Yeah, it can be a win-win, but it's rough. All right. Anything else on it?
Halloween. We was on that. I think we killed that topic. Like, that topic is gone.
Cool. Well, got a normal story then? I think that's all the Yu-Gi-Oh! I can take for now.
Just a quick thing.
Okay.
So I think the product release for the Fire King structure deck went out.
Oh yeah, some new product releases. That's true.
Yeah, what do I have?
Funny we talk about that now.
Yeah, right. So a new version of Fire King High Avatar Garanix takes the field. It can rise from the ashes or fly down. Oh, guys, I'm on my phone because I don't have my tablet. I'm not texting while on the pod. What's the thing? Rise from the ashes or fly down from your hand. Anytime one of your fire monsters are destroyed, then pump up its own attack by consuming another monster from hand, deck, or field. I wonder if it destroys the monster from deck. That would be crazy.
They've revealed all the cards, actually.
Wait, they're revealed? Like, officially?
From the OCG.
We don't talk about leaks.
Yeah, the OCG has revealed all the Fire King.
Wow. So what, this product release is just too late?
Well, it's in typical TCG fashion.
All right, Konami.
Now, that said, though, they have, this is them confirming a date for the TCG.
It is. I saw the date. It was in December, December 7th is the release date for this deck. That's all this amounts to because you already know all this. I just don't because I choose not to read leaks.
Yeah. Well, the Fire King structure comes out December 11th. Grab it.
December 11th. Oh, December 7th.
Or is that what you said?
I thought
you said
7th.
December 11th.
I might have said 11th. I meant 7th.
December 7th. Also, that does remind me, they announced the Yugi and Kaiba accessories as well.
Oh, yeah, the
25th
sleeves.
anniversary.
Sleeves, playmat. There's something else.
Deck box and a portfolio.
Deck box and portfolio.
Yeah. So.
I want the mat.
Yeah, I mean, the sleeves and the mat seem cool. I can pass on everything else. But they come out next February.
They need them deck boxes that Amanda Lapalm be putting out.
Yeah.
Instead of these little them hard plastic things.
Konami should buy her. Like just like here, let's buy that company.
I don't know
Let
why.
them make the Yu-Gi-Oh accessories.
Why does every indie like TCG accessories place make better products than Konami?
Yeah, those are coming out next February, which I think is like a little weird because they're like, yeah, it's the 25th anniversary. Like, isn't that over then?
Yeah, it will be over then. And what took so long? Because that's like, been an OCG for a minute.
Since like the beginning of the year. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, these products are like the same. Like it's the same image of Yugi and Kaiba. And now I know like this is not me complaining about it being DM pandering. I get that. But I'm just saying like these products have like released in Japan like months ago. I don't know why they like waited this. I guess they had to try to get these Gold Pride things that they've been launching this last
Could have
month.
pushed that back.
So I know they try to space it out. It just kind of feels a little late. It's like 25th anniversary. It's over though.
So yeah, we're in August. For a lot of like students, a new school year has started.
Yeah, so
that's really late for the 25th anniversary.
That's a little bit weird, but if you want to get them, they exist.
In fact, they do.
Or they will exist in February. All right.
Okay, now that's everything I had to say about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Cool. Got another story.
I got something about Magic.
Let's hear it.
And it mixes into a topic I love covering here on the pod.
Okay.
This story is a little old, but it was my first time seeing it. MTG designer reveals future MTG sets could be made with AI.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
God, I'm already exhausted.
Let's see.
What do they have to say about this? I want to hear exactly how they plan to use AI in their card game to delight their players.
I'm trying to find the quote in here.
It's hard to fish that out.
It should be easy if I picked up this story, but for the life of me, I'm just going to start from the top. Screw it. It says, while we may receive upwards of 6 brand new MTG sets each, yet does okay. I see. While we may receive upwards of 6 brand new MTG sets each, yet designing Magic the Gathering takes a whole lot of work. Typically, Wizards of the Coast has a 2.5-year development cycle with rigorous design and playtesting. While this long development is vital to ensure sets aren't riddled with game-breaking combos, it's understandable Wizards may want to expedite the process. Previously, when looking to speed up development, throwing money or personnel at the problem was the best bet. Many people do that, except for Konami. Recently, however, artificial intelligence has been making waves by potentially accelerating development like never before. In just seconds, AI programs such as ChatGPT can complete work that would have otherwise taken hours, if not days.
Okay, so like they're talking about using it for art or for...
Both, actually.
Or just to straight up design cards?
Yeah, so toward the start of the AI boom last year, we covered how programs such as DALL-E 2, DALL-E 2 and Midjourney could revolutionize art in MTG, providing impressive generative arts in seconds.
Oh, fucking God.
I hate AI too. Currently, while it's far from the only program out there, ChatGPT by OpenAI is the go-to artificial intelligence program, providing text rather than images. ChatGPT has been used by coders, writers, and even lawyers with varying degrees of success. Yay. To be clear, that AI lawyer thing didn't really work out.
Okay, so what did they say?
That's what I'm looking for.
Because I want to see, I want to hear what they've got to say about this.
As soon as I find the quote. Okay, here it is. Woo! It took me too long to find this.
Okay, thank God we'd have to hear them pad out this article that was probably AI written anyway.
All right, so responding to a recent question on their Q&A blog, Mark Rosewater revealed their current stance on AI, stating, I believe there will come a day where AI is a tool we will use for design. It appears that it's only a matter of time. Oh, that's it? That's just a quote? That is...
It's only a matter of time before what?
Before they use it for design.
Oh, okay. So it's not really. So I guess it's not as doom and gloom as it. Like they're not like. I thought it was more of a like we are currently experimenting with this and like
That's
we will
what
be
I
using
thought,
it in the next year or
but
something.
when I had to scroll like 2 pages down
Past
in
the
the
fluff.
article to actually find the quote, which I thought was way more substantial than it was.
So basically, he vaguely said something about
He's
AI,
optimistic about AI in the
and they
industry.
turned it into this like long
Huge,
article.
because Paul,
riddled
that was
with
only
ads.
halfway through the article, and I scrolled a lot.
Well, let's make this interesting since it's all a waste. What do you think of the idea of using AI for specifically in the context of a trading card game, like design art and stuff?
So I think it's not perfect. I think it's a very imperfect tool to use.
All right.
Because the quick benefit of AI to making cards, you can significantly reduce the amount of manpower you have in R&D, right?
Yeah.
You know, it would just generate the artwork and generate the effects. But then I think you would then have to shift a lot, if not all of that manpower into like Q&A,
Q&A.
quality and assurance.
Oh, okay.
Because AI just spits things out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always make like perfect sense. And even if you could get the AI to make sense, how good is an AI at making balanced cards?
So I think that I think using AI for art, for like art card assets, stuff like that, possible. I don't like it.
Weird hands everywhere.
But like possible. Using it for card balance, hell no. I think that's the worst. Like, I don't think that that's feasible at all.
Like, we already don't like the way Master Duel is balanced. Can you imagine if a computer was actually in charge?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that there's uses in terms of maybe like data interpretation. Like, I have the low-key hot take that sometimes I think they should use AI to make those Master Duel ban lists. But not really, but like maybe. But like, I think having it write the cards, no way. I think having it like do art for the cards, possible. Although like, I think that one thing that Magic, I think, does better than Konami is that like, you know, they credit the artists on all the cards, like for the artwork and stuff, and so that would be lost, and that sucks. Now I'm sure they feel they could save loads of money and not have to commission all these artists to draw these cards. We can just
even though the artists are like a beloved part of the MTG community. I mean, at all those conventions, they bring the artists and people get their cards signed.
Apparently, they're not so valuable that they can't be replaced. I don't know. I mean, I don't like the idea of it, but I'll say this, and this is like, this isn't a defense, to be clear. If somebody was starting a card game now, like today, like kind of from scratch, an indie card game, I'll admit I could see AI could be like a somewhat useful tool to just like, because you think about like, okay, if I want to make a card game and I'm like a regular person, I just can't afford artists. Like, it's just not really, because like
art's expensive.
You know, art's expensive, and like, you know, I'm having to make like, you know, a few hundred cards to start out.
Right.
I see where there could be some value in using something, you know, like generating the art, especially if it's kind of your typical high fantasy game.
And just to be clear, while I do see what he's saying, I disagree.
Go ahead.
I just disagree with AI art in general. I hate the stuff.
That's, I want to be clear. I do not like AI art. I'm not saying that like you should do this. I'm saying that is like the application that is probably the closest I could come to agreeing with the idea of it is that. And even then, it's like, if indie people are using it, then why wouldn't the large company use it? Because of course they want to cut the costs and they'll make loads off of it. So no, I mean, I don't like the concept of it, but I see why they want to. I just don't. I hope that they don't go down that path.
I remember I floated the idea like months ago about us playing a duel with AI generated Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It never came together, but the few times I ran ChatGPT to see what it could come up with, I was horrified.
Yeah, so
ChatGPT doesn't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh. Don't let those generative messages like fool you. It doesn't know anything.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is so specific; it's kind of hard to, I would think.
Like, you could teach it problem solving card text, and that wouldn't fix anything. It just wouldn't.
So, yeah, there's that. All right, well, I've got a story.
What you got?
Nintendo confirms original Mario voice actor Charles Martinet is stepping back from recording.
Who is that?
So Charles Martinet, I'm sorry you don't know him, is the voice of Mario. Yeah, Nintendo has confirmed that Charles Martinet, the original voice actor of Mario, who's played the character since 1991, will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games and will now serve as a Mario ambassador. So fans can expect a special video message from Shigeru Miyamoto, that's the creator of Mario, and Martinet to arrive at a later date. So yeah, basically he has voiced Mario as far back as like Super Mario 64.
So no more yippee.
Well, I mean, they're going to have a new voice actor that's going to replace him.
Back, yippee.
Yeah. So it's been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. So,
what if Chris Pratt voices Mario now?
Oh, dear.
I know it. People would hate that.
Although one fun fact is that actually in that Super Mario movie, he voices Mario's dad, Charles Martinet.
Oh.
Yeah, Mario and Luigi's dad is voiced by Charles Martinet. That might actually be his last recording of a Mario character, which would kind of be a little bit like symbolic as he voices Mario's dad.
Shed a tear.
So we don't know who voices Mario in that upcoming game, Super Mario Wonder.
So it's already confirmed he's not in that?
Well, they haven't confirmed or denied that he's done, because he might have already recorded all the voice clips for that game. Who knows? But certainly, like moving forward, he will not be doing Mario's voice. So I'm kind of curious who they'll have replace him. I think that it'll be someone who's so damn close you won't be able to tell. I mean, this is Nintendo. They've got.
Then they announced the next Mario game has full voice acting.
Lord. Now, here's something interesting too. Is what I was wondering. So he also voices Luigi.
Huh.
And Wario. And Waluigi.
Oh, okay. He's the whole cast.
And even like Baby Mario and stuff. So like the fact that he voices all those characters means, is the person that they replace him with going to also voice them all, or are they going to get like separate voice actors for like Wario and Waluigi and stuff?
I feel like you could get separate people at that point, because finding one person to voice all those, maybe it's not hard, but to me it sounds hard.
Yeah, so I thought that was just kind of cool. It's kind of one of those like things that almost feels like when like Ash in the original Pokemon, like an anime kind of was ending and everybody was like sentimental about it. It's kind of like the same vibe, like just a end of an era type of thing.
When Mario's voice changed.
Like, I don't use this word often, but I think that this guy is kind of goated. Like, Mario's voice?
Yeah, he doesn't say that word often. I'm laughing because he doesn't say that
word often. I don't like words like that. But I can't, like, that's a really, like, the voice of Mario.
All right, but so Mario doesn't talk that much. I mean.
So, anyway, I thought that was kind of a neat little story. Nothing super major, but definitely Super Mario.
Boo.
Sorry, what's your next story?
It took me a moment to realize what you said. And
I think that it was a good one. Somewhat.
All right, so this one, I just brought this up because this is a device that to this day, I think we talked about it before. I'm still not sure why it exists. So Sony has named their Project Q device.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It is now called PlayStation Portal. That is their handheld streaming device where you can stream from your PlayStation 5 to this handheld, in your house with your Wi-Fi, and not leave your house, because then you don't have Wi-Fi anymore, and then it's useless.
Right.
So you have to use it in your house, the same house where you have your PlayStation 5.
Any other details?
And it will be $200.
Okay, well, there's one surprise. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this shit was gonna cost $300.
If it costs any more than that, I would say that it's completely just DOA.
Have they given a use case yet?
No, that's up for us to figure out.
I still don't understand this product. Like, I read a little bit about this headline. Not all I didn't see the price. So $200 is an interesting one. They said that it's basically like a DualSense controller or whatever, and that like it has the same like haptics and the trigger
it's got
thing.
An
and
8-inch LCD screen or LED.
Do we know the
LCD.
resolution on that? Is it like 1080p?
I can check if they put it in.
Said that at all?
Let's see.
Because I'm maybe that
1080p.
Okay, that's decent.
60 frames or capable of 60 frames.
I mean, that's cool. I just don't know the use case. I did read something weird about it though.
What's that?
Makes it even more weird as a product to me. It does not support Bluetooth. Like
what is the? Then they come out with the Pulse.
I'm getting to that. It doesn't support Bluetooth, and it doesn't have a headphone jack. So the only headphones that it supports are like those Sony proprietary like $200 or however much they are, like
The Pulses?
Pulse earbuds, something like that.
Oh, wow.
I guess the only audio solution that it supports. So that's even more confusing, and it also makes it a terrible value prop to me.
How does it connect to the Pulse if it doesn't have Bluetooth?
Some special magic that only Sony knows.
All right, Sony.
Presumably, I don't know. I mean,
all right, we need to talk. 'Cause what is this?
I mean, like, I don't know. Let me look up. There might be like more to it than that. What's it called? The Sony
PlayStation Portal, and the earbuds are the something Pulse. I think they're the Pulse Explore wireless earbuds. There's also a Pulse Elite wireless headset.
Wait, okay. Someone says it does have a wired. Okay, it has a wired headphone jack. It just does not have Bluetooth.
That's weak. That's so weak for your handheld device that you're supposed to be able to walk around your house with.
All right.
Well, the same house that you have a PlayStation in that you could just be sitting in front of playing your game.
I don't understand. I just don't get this. Like,
I don't know. I guess maybe it depends on like where you keep your PlayStation, right? So like, I keep my PlayStation in my living room, but if I want to play a game in my bedroom, I wouldn't be able to do that. So maybe I buy this $200 handheld so that I can walk past my living room and go to my room and play my PlayStation.
Strangely, the $199. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I saw this thing that just blows my mind. Strangely, the $199.99 handheld won't work with Sony's upcoming cloud streaming for PS5 games.
Yeah,
so they say games that must be streamed on PS5 using a PS Plus premium membership are not compatible.
So the games you had to stream, you can't stream to your remote play streaming device.
What the hell is this stupid thing?
We don't know.
I just don't. This is. Sorry if I'm being a little irritable and catty. Maybe it's the Yu-Gi-Oh rant that just put me on edge. But like, it can use that. Okay, it says PlayStation Link wireless technology. That's a proprietary standard for PlayStation devices. PlayStation Link is just for the audio thing. It's designed to deliver low latency, lossless audio, and Sony is also launching a wireless headset and buds that support PlayStation Link. So you can use their specialized piece of technology.
So they're really trying to muscle out like the Android and kind of like generic accessories people normally use with their PlayStation products.
Sounds like it.
Hey guys, the Xbox is actually, it's a pretty good value, I've heard.
I think this is the most bizarre product, and I'm not saying I'm rooting against this product. I'm saying that if you buy it,
man, you be the only person in the comments of that article that I read who isn't rooting against it.
All right, here I'm going to take a glass half full approach. Prove to me where the value in this is.
Pot half full?
Pot half full approach. Prove to me, Sony, where the value prop is. If this comes out and people somehow like it or something that it offers and I'm like missing the point, let me know in the comments, or maybe I'll read the reviews. I don't know. I don't get why this exists.
I did read one guy said that he liked using. This is in the past. He had a PlayStation Vita that he streamed his PlayStation 4 from, and he liked to take his Vita to bed and stream his PlayStation. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it still feels like such an extremely niche case, especially given that the Vita is a standalone handheld that can play other games and you can leave the house with it. This thing doesn't do anything else.
Like, it's nice. I don't know. Anyway, cool. I mean, like, good for them. Hopefully, if you guys are excited about this and you plan to spend your $200 plus your money for your links.
And you need to save that money so you can buy cards at your LGS.
Right. Any other stories?
No, let's get to the pot.
Let's get to the pot.
All right. Let me shake it up.
We have a brand new batch of questions because we actually only recently asked you guys for some. So these are fresh.
Well, there's also some older ones in there too. They might not be as good.
Oh, well, we've got some fresh material inside of our pot.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, no. Don't fall apart. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, you dropped it?
Oh, God. I don't even know where it went.
Oh, Lord.
All right. You know what? I'm just going to pull a new one. Okay. I'm going to add that one back to the pot, guys. I'm not going to lose that question. Okay. Oh, wow. This one's funny because this one was directed to me.
Okay.
And so I figured that if you pulled this one, you would just have to hand me this card. But instead, I got it. It was a 50-50, so I guess not too bad. All right. Anyway, it says, Alec, How would you recommend the Digimon TCG or the Card Fight Vanguard TCG to TCG players?
How would you recommend it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like what would how would I promote these games?
Oh, you got the stage. Go on.
All right.
Sell them to me.
So Digimon is very much it's a card game for people who who enjoy being able to take their turns and not have to like pause for your opponent to react to every little thing that you do. Only in this very most recent release has Digimon given your opponent any ability to like make plays during your turn. So that's just not a thing in Digimon. Also, if you are a fan of the Digimon franchise in any way, whether that be one of the animes, the games, anything, it's the entire TCG is a love letter to the franchise. Each set is themed and supporting like some part of Digimon. We had an entire set that supported the Tamers anime. We've had sets that support specific Digimon video games. And just because you may not be familiar with that aspect of the franchise doesn't mean you can't use the cards. They work just as well, and they might even introduce you to parts of the franchise you've never seen before. Now, Card Fight Vanguard. Now, this is a game for people who want to get a little competitive. Digimon can get competitive, but I think Vanguard is much more mature of a game where there's real value in like quickly getting up to speed and getting into the competitive scene as fast as you can. Vanguard's the type of game where you don't mind a little luck. And I say that all card games have to have luck, right? But Vanguard, it's almost specifically about luck. So they used to have to draw your grades in Vanguard. Grades are the levels your Vanguard evolves into to get stronger and to progress your game. They removed that bit of luck because there are times where your opponent would draw their grade to upgrade their Vanguard and you wouldn't, and then it felt like the game was just a wash. So they made that easier. They removed that chance. But what Vanguard does have is the trigger system, which I think is so much fun and nonsense. You have crit triggers that allow your monsters, creatures, I forget what you call them in Vanguard. Anyway, you let your guys do extra damage. You have draw triggers that let you draw extra cards. You have heal triggers that let you heal off damage. And you draw these triggers when you attack with your creatures or monsters, whatever you want to call them. So Vanguard it feels very aggressive because you're drawing cards from the top of your deck when you attack. Then those cards can immediately activate to do a thing. When you deal damage to your opponent, they're checking cards from the top of their deck. And then those cards can trigger as well as like a defensive action to try and counterplay what you're doing. But you do not know like when they're going to happen. There are strategies that let you kind of mess around with the probability of seeing triggers. But I think Vanguard is very much the competitive gambler's game. Like, you really want to, if you really like doing the math and you're comfortable with kind of playing in the gray area of things, like Vanguard, that's your game.
Yeah, cool. So between the two, which one would you pick?
For who?
Yourself.
For me, Digimon is just more near dear to my heart than Vanguard. Mm-hmm. Take nothing away from it. Vanguard actually has a great anime. Was it Overdress, which I think is now called Will Dress, something like that. Anyway, Vanguard's quite good, but I choose to play Digimon right now.
Cool. Sounds like a good sales pitch to me. All right, well, my card says, it's easy, favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game.
Oh, okay.
Master Duel.
Wow.
And not that was a really boring answer. I think if I had to leave that one out, I think I remember liking Tag Force on PSP. Mm-hmm. Played a good bit of that. And there was actually one I played on like Game Boy Color Advance. I'm not gonna lie. For as much as I've liked Yu-Gi-Oh, I've never actually cared loads for the video games, like all too much. They've never been my favorite part of Yu-Gi-Oh. So, but it would probably be one of those, I guess.
Fair.
Something I feel like I missed out on was Duels of the Roses.
So that actually brings me to my answer to that question. So typically, or at least, let's say 6 years ago, my answer was Duelist of the Roses. It was, that game had such fond memories from me and my brother playing through the game that we loved Duelist of the Roses. I think that was hands down our favorite game. But some years ago, when we decided to replay it for the channel, I discovered that Duelist of the Roses is actually a very difficult game. And I have no idea how I just played it and had fun as a kid when as an adult, I struggled to beat the very first opponent. So my answer has now changed to Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters Coliseum, which is a bit newer than Duelist of the Roses. In my opinion, it's a little bit easier. And yeah, I would say a Capsule Monster Coliseum is my favorite game.
Yeah, I would say Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games have never been like outright amazing, but it is nice that there were some that kind of have memories for people. Like I remember the Game Boy Color game I think I got like from a friend or from like a pawn shop. I definitely don't remember like just outright like having it given to me by my parents. Mm-hmm. So I don't know exactly how I got a hold of it, but I remember that was kind of the story with that. And so I played it and I was struggling because it was one of those games where like they start you off with like monsters that have like 600-700 attack points.
Yeah.
And that's like your whole deck. And then like give the base Kaiba and he like on his first like just second turn he summons something with like 1800 attack and you just have to like struggle. It's very, weird. Honorable mention for least favorite worst Yu-Gi-Oh game was that freaking Wheelie Breakers game.
Oh, see, that was my honorable mention for favorite.
Nintendo Wii.
That game was horrible.
It's so terrible. It's the Mario Kart. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh 5D's Wheelie Breakers. It's the Mario Kart of Yu-Gi-Oh.
But that's giving it way too
that's
much credit.
Very generous.
Mario Kart is actually a good franchise. Wheelie Breakers could have been good, but it just had so many issues.
Yeah, so.
But it had the way you used your cards in Wheelie Breakers was novel, if only the rest of it was better.
Yeah, kind of an awful game, really. But yeah, my current favorite actual game, it's just Master Duel. I know it's like a boring answer, so.
But it's your answer.
But it is my
Speak
favorite.
Your truth.
I think that the main thing that they did good with Master Duel is just the presentation is just so spot on. Like
it's a clean game.
It's a clean looking game. The sound effects, the music. Hey, one small critique. Add this feature. I forgot to put this in the last little duelist survey thing that they had in game. Let us choose our music, please.
Oh
Let
yeah,
us choose
he's always complaining about that.
They lock the music to the duel field.
But it's your opponent's
duel field. And every new duel field that they've added since release hasn't had its own unique soundtrack, so it defaults to like one of the two ones it seems to just switch between. So basically whenever you're like laddering in PvP, there's only like 2, maybe 3 different themes you'll ever hear, and like it's kind of boring. So they just need to like just change that one feature. I'll be happy forever.
Yeah,
you don't have to ban
and upgrade the Gear Town duel field while you're at it.
It's the Gear Town.
Make
duel
it look
field.
clean.
That's the one that plays the song I like, but nobody uses the Gear Town field because it's like old.
I want to see little ancient gears moving around, and it's the Gear Town. Why is it dead?
So yep. All right. Anyway.
All right, number 2.
Oh, that was, by the way, the card that you.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that or not.
Okay, let's see. Where is it? There it is. All right. Have you ever written or read Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan fiction?
An interesting question.
Well, this one's actually very easy for me.
Okay.
No. I've never written or read Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan fiction. I wouldn't even know where to go to read it.
I haven't either, as it happens.
I thought you said you'd read fan fiction before.
I have read fan fiction before, not Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan fiction.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. So Yu-Gi-Oh! For me was never that much about the characters and stuff, and I assume that that's what like fan fiction would be about.
I mean, that's true.
So I never
then
really
it's
read
then
that.
again, it's about like Celtic Guardian.
Now, I will say, as a kid, like a very young kid, I would think of duels in my head. Like I would make like kind of just episodes or scenarios in my head when I was like just outside riding my bike.
You needed to write that.
But I didn't have internet.
The streets was looking for this.
Yeah, but I didn't like write any fan fiction, but like I would just imagine duels. Like in this episode, some person showed up and stole Taya's deck, and now she has to use someone else's deck and duel to get it back. Like it would be.
Oh man, you really plotted this out.
Yeah, there would be like crazy little scenarios, but it wasn't. So I guess that counts as fan fiction. Then yeah, I guess I've thought of duel scenarios, but I have not put any of it to paper, and I have not looked up Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction.
You've done more than me. My one experience with fan fiction went very wrong because
what was it?
It was X-Men fan fiction, but I stopped reading it when Wolverine licked Lady Deathstrike's blood and said "yummy."
Okay, I can't imagine it.
At that point, I just stopped there. I was like, I don't even like blood. I'm not into all that. I stopped.
I'll pull my next card, the final card.
Guys, let me know if you've seen that fan fiction. I don't want to finish it. Just to be clear, I do not.
Will we see the rest of APS on the pod? Not super likely.
Only because this space, I don't even know how we'd fit many people. But Konami devs, you want to come on? We'll find a way to put some chairs in.
Mostly just because we kind of started the podcast just as a thing with just us, because we are the most we just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh all the time.
We're the most present.
Yeah, so we always have something to say about it. I mean, if there's enough demand, I wouldn't mind.
We could have them sit down at our feet,
someone can sit
children
and just but probably not much. Not to say they won't just be on the channel and stuff, but podcast wise, unlikely. Also, most people are just very busy.
And we never really talked about this, but the Pod of Greed. It was never really supposed to be a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. We just wanted to talk about things we're interested in. That's why we keep bringing in stories about AI and some tech products. Because while we do love Yu-Gi-Oh, we love many things, and so we named the Pot of Greed because it was just too hard to pass it up. I mean, it was too good of a name.
Yeah. So that's never say never. You might see somebody who knows, but
we'll sit them right on the floor.
Yeah, I guess that's it for this week's pod.
Yeah, guys. Thank you for tuning in this week.
What'd you think of the stories? What'd you think of our takes and opinions on them? I know that the spicy story of the week is the kind of card shop player, Konami trilogy, saga, whatever.
Yeah, let us know if your card shop goes on Yu-Gi-Oh strike.
Yeah. And if a Konami employee wants to show up and defend themselves.
Yeah, we'll pull up a chair.
We'll gladly, we'll lend you a microphone. You can have your...
We'll keep you off camera. Just so you speaking to the mic.
He's a voice changer as well.
Yeah, we'll do the full night. We'll give you a VTuber model.
Yeah, that's right. It's okay. You won't get in trouble, we promise. All right, well, that's going to be it. We'll see you guys next week. And stay tuned. We're going to try to think up something fun to maybe do for the 20th episode of the Pod of Greed.
I promise you, it'll be more lit than the 25th anniversary.
It's not a high bar to clear. All right. We'll see you guys the next one.
Pass turn.